Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with Randy Nail, the CEO of HoganTaylor. As you know, last week we listened to what some of their employees had to say about company culture, about engagement, about all those kind of things. So I thought I would get Randy here to speak to some of those very same things. So Randy, thank you so much for joining me today. Have a couple of questions about organization culture and all of that. So we heard some stuff from the employees about what it's like here. So as the CEO, how would you describe the culture of HoganTaylor?
Well, that's a pretty loaded question, isn't it, Greg?
It is indeed.
So if culture is something that a person can feel when you walk into the room, we call that HT3 around here, as I'm sure you know by talking with our people. But what I would say that it is you're going to come in and you're going to feel that there is this united teamwork kind of vibe around our culture, that there is a big emphasis on serving and we're helping one another, and I'm going to put you first and I'm going to try to make sure that all of your needs are met in a remarkable way.
Are you saying this as an employee or as a client that you're serving?
I'm saying that a client is going to come in and they're going to feel this. This is our goal anyway when it comes to culture. So that's two parts, right? One is our employee has a culture in which an atmosphere in which they engage and encounter each other and do their work. But all of that is for a projection to the client, to where the client feels unity. I have a team. Service. It's all about remarkable service and how I'm going to serve you, and then being dynamic. This team is all about helping me get better. They're always focused on getting better. They're helping me and my company and my financial situation get better. So
okay, hold on. Unity, service, dynamic.
Yes.
Those are three, are those our HT3?
Those are our three core values.
How did you come to that conclusion? How were you able to identify those unities, dynamic? Those are very interesting for an accounting firm.
Okay, well, a few years ago, what we decided was, who do we want to be? So I'm a big believer in every company should determine its own course, and it should decide collectively, who do you want to be? How do you want to live? What kind of life do you want to live? And what do we want our values to be? So we actually hired a consultant, and his name is Greg Hawks with Hawks Agency, and what a great idea. And we really set in focus groups around the room, and we talked about aspirational values. What do we want to be? Who do we want to project ourselves as when we come here? And how do we want to live our lives? And so that's how that was all born.
Okay, so then you've established that, people are trying to live it out. What has been the greatest challenge to keep that culture alive?
I guess right off the top of my head, I wouldn't say there has been a greatest challenge.
Really?
Well, what I would say is that if you're going to have those values, then you're going to have to live those values. So we didn't even adopt them until I knew I could live them and promote them and project them. And
you personally, or your leadership team, or like every person here?
Well, me personally and the leadership team in particular. So all of the partners had to buy in, and if they don't buy in, and if they don't internalize this, and if they don't say this is our culture, then it's never going to work. But because we did that, we're always talking about them, we're always telling stories, we own this from day one. So the thing that you have to do is you have to live it. If you don't live it, then it will become a challenge.
Okay, let me shift gears on you really quick here, because one of the other things we like to talk about is how people who work in a place stay engaged. It's a very exciting phrase that people love with working with people, is how their employees are engaged. So what have you done here at HoganTaylor to help, because you have a variety of different characters playing here, a couple hundred employees at the moment. What do you do to help people be engaged at work?
I guess the easy answer, or the big answer, is everything that I do has that question in mind. How do people stay engaged, or how do we keep them engaged? So you've mentioned our culture and our core values. That's a big part of engagement. If they don't come with a set of defined values, then how are they going to stay engaged in a unified way that we can become the firm that we want to be? But there's also like your mission statement, and our mission statement to elevate our communities, our clients, and our people through remarkable service. All of that is about engagement. It says what we're going to do here is you're going to elevate, you're going to lift, you're going to add value, you're going to make a difference in the life of that person that you're serving. Well, see, that gives purpose, Greg. And if you will come to work with a sense of purpose and a connection to something in life that makes you want to do that thing, that's how you get engagement. Now, we do a lot of other stuff too. We try to do rewards and recognition for service, and we try to tell big stories about big wins, and we try to pat each other on the back and do all of those normal kinds of things. But it's the culture, it's the environment that is going to help you win the big battle when it comes to engagement. People need to come to work already engaged with a mission so that they are motivated to serve, not just coming to work with, I've got a job to do today. So we try very hard. That's our culture is we've got a noble cause, a mission that I want you to get up for every day and help us achieve at HoganTaylor.
That's pretty. Now you're working with accountants, right? That is.
The accountants a bad rap. I mean, we are not near as conservative and introverted and just humble and meek in our offices as you would think. At HoganTaylor, we are out there making a difference.
Okay, 2 more questions. One is what is something you love about your job as CEO?
Probably just the people aspect. So I don't serve clients outside of the firm. The firm is my client. So I get to come to work every day and say, how can I make my client better? Which means I get to interact with our people. So kind of a people guy, kind of extroverted. And so I like spending time hearing stories, seeing what's going on, making sure that our culture, making sure that our mission is being lived out. And I just get to kind of manage that process every day. Love that.
That's a pretty good gig. Now, here's the final question. This month, I've been thinking about how we like people as a leadership principle, that if you choose to like people first, that it sets the pace for how effective that relationship is going to be. How do you, when you're meeting new people or bringing in new colleagues or interfacing with people for the first time, how do you kind of qualify, or not qualify is probably not a good word, how do you think about that other person and you gaining influence in their life?
Well, I think the first thing a leader has to do, just backing up just a little bit. So there's this whole managerial leadership principle in the business world right now about servant leadership, which I subscribe to. So if we are servant leaders, then that means that we're coming to work putting other people first to begin with. So that can be natural for some and not so natural for others. For me, I'm kind of wired that way. So if I will encounter you and I'm already interested in you and who you are and what you feel and what you believe, and my job is to tap into that and plug that into what we already are, you see, that is awesome. That is an awesome thing to be a part of, and that's how I motivate, or that's how I interact, and I hope our people interact with new people coming in, is that we're going to take a real interest in you and who you are, and we're going to value you, and you're going to feel that. And so then you get to
you have a lot of feelings for an accountant. Yeah, you're really creating this emotional thing when I think accounting is very logical. How does that come about?
Well, one of my coaches here talks about that very thing. In the Myers-Briggs scores, I have one of those, feeling, and I'm really high on feeling, and that's true. It's not always a high score for accountants. They tend to be more logically oriented, which I have that side of how I'm wired too. But if we don't figure out how to interact with people as people and develop relationships and understand that emotion is a big part of that, then we're just going to miss it. So I try to live that value.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Nail, CEO of HoganTaylor. You can find them on the web if you have any accounting needs. Thanks for joining us today.